Okay, hopefully you've taken a look at that and you can see what I'm talking about. And those are very common sedimentary rocks. Usually, and again, you don't have to remember all these terms. I know I'm giving you a lot of terms, but those kinds of rocks are called clastic. Clastic rocks, because they're made up of little clasts that stick together. Well, the other ones you see are called evaporites. So right now, go grab the other. You got still have your tray of sedimentary rocks. Pull out the gypsum, the travertine, and the rock salt. Take a look at those. Those are really interesting, especially the rock salt and the gypsum. You really won't see a lot of grains. And you may or may not with travertine, but I'll get to that in a minute. These rocks are rocks that have come out of the water, out of solution, as the water evaporates off of a pond or a lake or a bay or something like this, and it leaves the mineral behind. And you've seen this process all the time. If your mom ever makes corn on the cob or something that you have to boil the water in, she puts the water in a pot. She brings it up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the boiling point. The water begins to evaporate like crazy. If you let that happen all the way down to let it cool until it gets to about 70 degrees, room temperature, well, all the water will be gone, right? And you will see, and you've probably already seen, in the bottom of the pot is all these like white dusty minerals. Those have come from the water. And as the water evaporated away, it left those minerals. Now picture a gigantic shallow lake, like the one they have out in Utah called the Great Salt Lake. You've heard about the Salt Lake, the Bonneville Salt Flats out in Utah. It was a big, giant, very shallow lake that evaporated all the water. And it left all of the salt in a big flat zone. So that would be rock salt. So gypsum, travertine, and the rock salt that you have, and if you haven't already, taste the rock salt. It tastes just like salt, because that's what it is. These three are not clastic rocks like we just talked about. They are the rocks that came out of solution. So you won't be able to really tell the grain size because it's all appeared after the water evaporated. Gypsum and rock salt are pretty easy. Travertine is a very difficult one. If you look up travertine on your computer, if you Google it, you will see that it comes in lots of different appearances. One of them actually has bands in it, just like it's like a clastic sedimentary rock. But just don't be fooled. So these three are different from the other five that we just talked about in that they come out of the water as the water evaporates. And what makes them different is that different minerals come out. For example, travertine is a limestone. Rock salt, obviously, is sodium chloride, regular old table salt. And gypsum is a sulfur kind of mineral. So different minerals, but they're all evaporites. And so now you know that there are these clastic rocks, like shale to conglomerate, which form in a certain way. And you have evaporites, which are formed as the mineral comes out of solution and the water evaporates. Now, travertine, you'll probably see in your travels as you go around because this is very common around hot springs. The hot water comes out of the ground, it begins to evaporate, and it leaves travertine. So those are the two kinds of sedimentary rocks that are most common. You've got the clastic ones that we just talked about and the evaporites. But hold on to that, you've got a couple more in there that I want to talk about. One is the coal, and the other is the phospholiferous limestone. That's a mouthful. Let me get to those in just 1 minute. So take a look at these with your hand lens and see if you can find any grains.